rank where the view is nothing less than phenomenal. For how I express and project from my abdominal. The only view better, both my daddy and my mama know. No living parents, my sons give me balance. My wife is my serenity, this mic is my identity. The world is foul enough, that's why I write without obscenities. Provoking danger with broken language and spoken anguish. Begging to get hurt, why would you ask to go through changes? Yes, Lord, life's a chessboard, master the angles. Control the tempo, be the one who holds the info. Acknowledge is just as deadly as machete swings. When spoken, the truth is as potent as that Medellin. While others swear the style is free, I just let it ring. Our time is undervalued, soldiers make us better kings. My fans on my shoulder, reaching after better things. Today I take the shot, for them I'd rather set the screen.
My mama told me follow my dreams. My daddy told me get it by any means. Stand tall, make him bow to a king. But I've evolved, you can see the result. Look in my eyes when you speaking to God.
Life and for those who we caught up in using what I was scarred with the muse. I guess they call it proving I'm more than an artist. Penciling out my darkest while sizzling out a harvest. And storing what gets me from A to B, just like garages. Instrumental with collages. Envision what I've been drawing. Broadway to give you rhythm like the great Lena on. So bent on, found comfort in the storm. Find peace and on when you see them others perform. Organized chaos, I'll cast it like hey ya.
Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? It's your number one chief, rockin' Knicks Universe, the main man, Uncle Freezie. Welcome to, I think this is season 5 of Blorange Tears, the Knicks at Night podcast. I'm joined here by our main man, IKBM Dre. Dre, what's good, bro?
Not much, man. Ready to chop it up, man. And a highly anticipated season.
Highly anticipated season, bro. So I have quite a few topics, man, that I want to get into. I don't know if you got a chance to see the email that I sent, bro.
Yeah. I went through it.
A lot of stuff going on. So it's a lot of stuff going on. But want to thank everybody first, man. Secondly, for all the new people out there that are coming through, just enjoying Knicks content. Maybe this is your first time being here. I'm going to ask you to sit back and relax, listen to the content, hear us out, and if it's something that you like, consider joining the family, whether that is by membership or by subscribing to the channel. Definitely going to have you ask you to hit the like button. So I figure in 5 years of this, maybe we should consider growing this channel and being a major player in the game. Want to shout out the chat. Kerry Cox is in the building. Salute. Coach is in the building. Fritz Alcindor is in the building. Salute. Greg Hamilton, what's good? So, want to ask IKBM Dre some questions that are not on that list, but at the same time, do a couple of entertaining things. First, my first question is an easy question for you, right? How satisfied are you with the Knicks roster right now after having a few weeks to kind of settle in and see what direction the Knicks are looking to go?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd have it at a nice 8.5.
Okay.
I think there's just one slight thing that I want to address that might need to be addressed later on in the season, which is like an extra ball handler. But I think those things can sort itself out organically within the structure of our offense going forward. But outside of that, I'm pretty content with the roster. I have no real huge complaints. It's the guys we let go that were mainstays in our bench last year are not on NBA rosters right now.
Oh, wow.
They've all been cut.
Wow.
Campaign pressures true.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very rough. So
right,
we're talking about guys, in terms of guys that we replaced them with quality NBA quality players. So.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. That's a very intriguing thought. Like the upgrade is for real. It's not a fake upgrade.
Yeah, these guys were cut from their teams. There's one other guy that was on our bench last year that slips my mind, but he also got
DeLon Wright.
Yep, him too.
Wow. Wow. I guess that's why you like one of the rising stars in the game, bro. Like, you be coming up with this stuff, bro, like up top of the head, bro. Like legit, I didn't even consider. Like I didn't even consider. When you said 8.5, I thought it was mostly because you may have had a thought about development and changes from the core players from last year to this year. Like guys have gotten in a different shape, like guys look different physically,
Mhm.
and guys come back, and other guys look like they've come back with certain skills that we've been wanting them to come back with.
Mhm.
And so when you mentioned 8.5, I thought that was the direction. But bro, when you say the bench is better with more quality talent, it makes me think about how many guys we turned away that should be on a roster.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Like Garrison Matthews is going to find his way on a roster pretty soon.
Wow. Wow. Okay. All right. Now that the summer has passed, what's your feeling on, and I asked you this in June, but I want to ask you again now since the season is here. What are your thoughts on the Knicks transitioning from Tom Thibodeau to Mike Brown?
For me, I think Tom Thibodeau did whatever the best he could given the circumstances. Mediocre bench, but his flaws were his flaws, and that's not to make him a bad coach or a terrible coach. In fact, he's one of the best coaches that have ever coached his organization, hands down. I think it's more or less an instance where, what? Hold on one second. It's an instance where, it's a guy that can get you from A to B, and you needed a coach that'll get you from B to C. And I think a different take on what this roster is and a different approach, whether a different voice, whether a different offensive system, whether even playing defense differently, whether load managing or not load managing. I think this team needed a wake-up call. Like, these guys are all in their primes. They don't need their hands being held.
Right.
They need some accountability. They needed a new voice. And that is it's a shock to the system for a lot of these guys. Like, it's all business because they know they could be next on the chopping block. If Tibbs could go, and he's been one of the best things that has happened to this organization. All goals are, we got to win a championship.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And I think it was a necessary evil.
Right.
Not to say it was a necessary evil, a necessary good. There we go.
Right. Chat. So for those in the chat, man, I'm asking you the same thing. Hey, Coach, check your email. Let me see here. Let me check something. I just got something to come through real quick. I'm sorry about that, y'all. All right. So, with that said, what I'd like to ask the chat and get your take on it also is, what does a successful start to the season look like for Knicks fans? Chat, that's what I'm asking y'all. Like, what does a successful start to the season look like to Knicks fans? And while they contemplate that, Dre, what I'll do is I'll go first since you answered the last couple questions first, and then I'll maybe give my thoughts on this question. I think a successful start to the season for Knicks fans looks like a team that is having fun together, a team that can stay healthy, relatively healthy, in the first 25 to 30 games. A successful start looks like the team is buying into Mike Brown's systems offensively, defensively, rotationally, and in transition. I think they buy into that, and you see them turn from what they were for 5 years into what Mike Brown envisions them being. Now, what the record looks like in that time, I don't know if I can speak to a specific record, right? I don't know if I can speak to a specific record, but I think a very hot start would be, now I'm not saying 72, 73 and 9, right? But I'm suggesting a very hot start will give Knicks fans confidence that the right coaching decision was made after a team lost in the Eastern Conference Finals. So what are you thinking? Like what would a successful start to the season look like for you?
For me, it is, whether it might be smaller intervals, but I want to see game by game improvement. I want to see new wrinkles being added. I'm not as harped in on the win and loss. I think wins and losses will come, but I'm more keen to like the process. What are the
Right.
things that I can take from game to game that are going to be championship habits?
Right.
And when you're learning how to play at a championship level, there are bound to be hiccups on the way. Will they bounce back? Will they adjust on the fly? That's what I'm keen in on. I think a lot of the players, I think in terms of like 7 or 8 guys out of the rotation, have been here before. So they already have some level of chemistry. I want to see if they can build on that to make that a championship caliber type chemistry, on top of bringing in professionals that have played around the league or around the world, in Yabusele's case, to see if they can acclimate and get better. And I think what would make a successful start would obviously not in the first 15 games, but around that 30 game mark, you start to hit your stride. You start to see what this team can possibly be at its highest level, because there's going to be incremental steps of growth. And then eventually you should see consistency somewhere around January. I believe that's around the 30 game mark.
Right. Right.
We play around 15 games every month.
That's interesting. It's when you say that, it kind of had my mind racing a little bit about not the successful start, but what drives the successful start. Right. So based on what you're saying, if you can help me understand just a little bit, is it more embracing Mike Brown, or more that players that were restricted under the previous regime are now set free to do things that the previous coach wouldn't let them do? One of the things I'm getting at is Karl Anthony Towns taking more threes per game.
I think I've to that thing. Mike Brown has addressed it as well, and I've almost wanted to reel that back in. I believe we can leverage his ability to shoot more with Mike Brown's system, where more than him just lighting shots up. I think with Tibbs doesn't care about leveraging the fact that you can shoot. It's whether you can shoot or not. Whereas in his Mike Brown system, it's about leveraging, hey, Cat can shoot. What can we get off of that in terms of easier buckets?
Right.
Can we use that to get layups? Can we use that to get uncontested looks? Can we use that to confuse teams? I think Tibbs's approach is more brute force, and Mike Brown's approach is more nuanced in terms of getting multiple actions, multiple layers, getting multiple results out of similar looks or different looks. I think it's like I think Cat can be stuck at the same 5 threes a night, but it would look completely different in terms of leveraging the fact that he can take 5 threes and make 5 threes.
Right.
You're going to get way more looks in terms of open opportunities for Brunson directly at the rim. You're going to weaponize the fact that Mikal is one of the best cutters in the league, and OG can bully one-on-one coverage. I think we didn't weaponize the fact that Cat gives you the opportunity, the space, that well without actually having to shoot. Like the threat of Cat is as influential as him making the shot or taking the shots. So yeah, like my initial thought about it was like, hey man, Cat needs to take 8 threes. But I'm thinking of that in the context of a Tibbs run offense. Whereas I'm thinking of it in the context of a Mike Brown offense. Cat can stay at the same amount of attempts, but we're going to weaponize the fact that he can shoot threes and get layups and get free throws and get dunks off of it.
Let me ask this. You mean in terms of Cat gravity?
Yeah.
And OG with Maggette cuts off of Cat gravity.
Just force.
Right.
Meeting force in the lane.
Right. Yeah, I think I understand. I think I understand what you're saying, and I think I think I agree with what you're saying, and the micro sense, like all these micro factors and micro decisions on the fly should lead to a successful start. And if they do those things and they don't get off to a successful start, then what adjustments will be made, right? Do the Knicks say, instead of playing Ariel Huck-Porty more, do they start playing Landry Shamet more in order to get to that situation that you just named? Chat, what do y'all think about that? Dre, what do you think about that? You think
I think if it came down to it, Mike Brown is willing to experiment enough instead of being stuck to one set of lineups. If he believes something can be upgraded, he's going to try that. He's going to exhaust every option, because if it's one thing about Mike Brown, he tries and tries and tries. Whether
right.
And more or less with Tom Thibodeau, if Tom Thibodeau believes in his heart that X lineup is going to work, he will stick to it and he will not budge off of it.
Right. Because he believes in improvement. He give it time, it'll work. Just keep trying it. Just keep doing it. We'll get better at it. And as opposed to
his perspective is an extremely high floor of competency can make me compete with anyone. And Mike Brown's perspective is, if I can get to a higher ceiling, there is no competition.
Right.
It's just a bludgeoning.
Right. No, I man, listen, I get it. I get it. A great start to the season also. To me, I think the feel and vibe around the team will be high in terms of what a successful start would feel like. Like, even if the team is 14-6-ish, 13-7, 15-5-ish, in that neighborhood, but the vibe is high, then I think we'll feel like it's a successful start. Last year, I think Cleveland started their first 20 games 19-1. I think. I'm not sure.
They started 15-0, I believe.
Yeah, and then they lost to I can't remember if they lost to it was weird. I think they started like 19-1 and Boston started 17-3 or 16-4, right, in the East. It was a crazy start by two of the gargantuans in the Eastern Conference. As a matter of fact, Cleveland's start was so outrageous that you didn't even notice that Boston was red hot in the first 20 games also. And while I don't and wouldn't predict that the Knicks are going to start off 19-1, what I will say is, if the Knicks start off fast, I don't think it's unreasonable for Knicks fans, a lot of Knicks fans, to say, hey, you know what? I kind of figured this was coming. This had been slow cooking for a while. Right now, with me, I think I like to take games in like 5-game stretches, like from 2-week stretch to 2-week stretch or whatever, because, people are just going to play different. right? Like you play a certain way 2 weeks, and then maybe you fly out to the West Coast and play a different set of teams, or something like that. Asking a different question, right? In a total different vein. Who do you think, or what Knicks player you think is due for a major breakout this year? And chat, I'm going to tie all of this in. Trust me, I'm going to tie all of this in. But I just want to get everyone's opinion on a few of these questions. Like, do you have a Knicks player you think is destined for a breakout?
Mikal.
Other than what he normally does?
Well, I think it's a level of detail that he's more focused in and honed in on. Also, I think his skill set and ability to play up and down is something that fits what Mike Brown values. He wants a guy that wants to play in transition. He loves a player that has high IQ cutting ability,
right,
and has versatility on both ends.
Okay.
And I think he's going to be more or less the teacher's pet when it comes down to it. And like there are certain things he can get to within the structure of this offense, whether it's easy points, whether it's catch and shoots, whether it's initiating out the pick and roll.
Right.
I think he's going to have one of his most efficient seasons since he left Phoenix. Probably his most efficient season since he left Phoenix.
Well,
averaging
the Knicks already
points.
have a teacher's pet though, bro.
Who's that?
Josh Hart. Josh Hart.
I think the way Mike Brown talks about Mikal, he is in love with Mikal. Every quote you've seen between those two, he is in love with playing with Mikal. I mean, playing Mikal. So I think it's going to be a perfect mesh, and I think Mikal is going to help bolster our efficiency, and he's going to be a two-way dynamo to me anyway. I think he's going to be pushing up on a near career high in assists, while also being one of the best off-ball players in the league.
Let's do this then. Let's split this topic in half. If you talk about the offensive part of Mikal Bridges being a breakout player, I'll talk about the defensive part.
Go for it.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead with your Mikal Bridges teacher's pet thing.
No, I think the more he does, the more Mike Brown will lean into him, and then he's going to start, not to say exploit, but he's going to start utilizing every ability that Mikal can bring to the table. Where I feel like we left a lot of meat on the bone in terms of what he can do last year.
Right.
And I think if that leads to wins, that leads to an all-star appearance, that leads to a happy Mikal Bridges. And that's winning a ton of games, of course.
Man, I'm not gonna lie to you. Every time I think about Mikal, what we're gonna get from Mikal Bridges on defense, bro, man, I get super excited. Like legitimately, I feel like Mikal Bridges on defense is I think Mikal Bridges is gonna be our Bernie Williams this year. Chat, this is what Cash, I forgot to send you the email, Cash, I forgot to send you the email, man. I'll send it. I think Mikal Bridges is gonna be our Bernie Williams. If you can remember how Bernie Williams thrived in between Jeter and Rivera and Posada.
The core four.
Yeah. I think his defense. I think legitimately him playing defense with his head not being on the swivel is gonna unleash him, right? Because when you play defense and your head has to be on the swivel, it's like playing defensive end and you can't get in your pass rush move because you're always getting chip blocked, right? So you can't even abuse the left tackle because you're going to get doubled and chipped. And so it just neutralizes you off the rip. Now, does it free up other guys? Yeah, but those other guys are not Mikal Bridges, right? I think Mikal Bridges is going to is destined to do things this year defensively that we wanted to see last year, but the roster makeup called for him to do something different. I think this year, and chat, when I say this, y'all please don't think I'm bugging, but this year you saw so far in preseason, right? This year so far in preseason, you saw Jalen Brunson playing point of attack defense at times.
Aggressive.
Yeah.
Aggressive defense, and you noticed we were in the gaps, being very trying to help as much as possible, trying to be aggressive, trying to be physical.
Right.
And I think some of it is adopting this new style of defense that's taken over the league over the last few years that OKC has implemented, that you've seen the Pacers try to implement against us, which is being assertive, playing all the way up until the whistle.
Right.
Helping the helper consistently.
Right.
Knowing where your help is.
Right. Well, and parts of that is when I see when I see Jalen Brunson force out high hedges for the offense to recover, that gives your wing defenders enough time to recover in these passing lanes, be arm distance away, and be able to collapse to a gap and play passing lanes based on the distance that the offense is initiating their offense. Basically, Jalen Brunson on ball, giving us time to reset like teams used to do us last year. Right? And so what does that mean? That means
the main difference to that, before I completely cut you off, he would hard hedge, but he would still switch. Back prior with Tibbs, he would hard hedge, but then he would try to run back to his man. And in that gap of time, teams would just exploit that pass over and over, whether it be a pocket pass or a skip pass, where he's trying to find his way back to his man.
Right.
I think Mike Brown has shown the ability to not be scared of switching as much because he knows that help in the gaps are always going to be there. And considering the fact he's going to play big lineups, he's always going to have length on the backside.
Right.
Against starters, that is.
Right. What that also provides is the opportunity to force teams to throw long passes to these players that are looking to spread the floor. Now, Chad, I don't know if y'all noticed this in the preseason or not. I've noticed this in the preseason that the Knicks legitimately at times have had scored on deflections and steals. We didn't get to see OG as much. OG didn't play a lot during the preseason. But if you can get decent ball pressure or decent point of attack defense, it doesn't have to be elite. It just has to be present. Right? It just has to be, it can't be a sieve, a break in the dam. It can't
sometimes you need to set a chip block.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give your left tackle a little crease, a little time to figure it out when you're going against some of these defenders out here.
Right.
Or offenses out here.
Right. And what that does is it empowers your wing players to be athletic wings. Felt like in previous regime, our wing players were more like big, thick forwards that didn't use their athleticism. I think we probably
we were definitely scared of compromising our defensive shell.
Yeah.
Whereas we're trying to be aggressive, be physical, and that defensive shell is always ever changing, ever morphing. given where the ball is, where your man is, where a certain player is.
Right.
Whereas Tibbs is more about, hey, I can't compromise my shell. My shell is my shell. And it works. It works very often.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And understand that we played teams that were not so good at times, right? But you got to play the schedule you were going to play. Even if we played OKC in the preseason, OKC wasn't going to play their starters 40 minutes. So we're going to see some questionable NBA players, but we were working on the process, like working through the process of implementation and things of that sort. I'm not going to say Jalen Brunson's going to be all NBA defense, but I wouldn't be surprised if Mikal Bridges is in the conversation for all NBA defense. Now, most NBA teams are not going to have 3 guys all NBA defense unless you're talking about the 20. What year was that? Robert Covington, Joel Embiid, and Ben Simmons. It's like
2017, 2018.
Yeah, and most teams are not going to have like that many guys. Coach, what's good, bro?
Salute,
Coach.
Yeah, Coach. I know that email had a lot of stuff in it, bro.
And I didn't even. It was I was looking at the bottom, and it was actually on the top.
Yeah. I put it at the top, so you would have to search through the whole. But anyway, we here. So, but yeah, Dre was talking about the breakout player might be Mikal Bridges, and
I was thinking that too.
When he said that, I was thinking there may be an increase there offensively for sure. My heart is in the defensive part. I think Mikal Bridges is a fantastic two-way wing. I don't think we got to see him be fantastic as a two-way wing last year. Yeah, is that fair? Would y'all think that's fair to say?
Yeah. I just think, and we said this during some of the playback watch-alongs, that he just seems more like he's more aware of what's expected of him, especially offensively.
Okay.
It just seems like he seems more comfortable.
Okay.
And that alone, and I think that comes with the communication with the coach, with Mike Brown. It seems like they just see out like just some coaches and players are good matches, you know what I'm saying? And some aren't good matches. That happens. And it seems like Mikal Bridges and Brown are a good match.
Yeah. I have to ask you and Dre this. I didn't put it on the email, but I gotta ask because y'all basically brought it up. So what does that do for Josh Hart?
Well, for me, I think he can fill that void of being a secondary ball handler, and I think you'll have less diminishing returns because his main thing is bringing energy and bringing pace and intensity. And if you can get him to be an energizer bunny for 28 minutes a night, 25 to 28, you're going to get the best version of Josh Hart. Less brain cramps. Because, I think a lot of his mistakes happened to be because he was tired. I'm going to be absolutely honest. When you're tired, you do dumb stuff. Legitimately. When you don't have structure and you're tired, that leads to even more turnovers and mishaps. So I think that we're going to get the best version of Josh Hart. And it won't show up in the counting stats. You won't see him average 14 and 8-9 boards. It might come down to 9 or 10 points per game, 6 or 7 boards, 4 assists. But it'll be the most pristine, clean basketball you'll get out of him while maintaining a high pace and high intensity. And you might see better defense out of him as well with lower minutes where he can focus and lock in on his rotations.
Yeah, I mean, I loosely agree. Like, I pretty much most of the points you said are aligned with what I think. The thing is, Josh is still going to do Josh things, good and bad. He'll just be doing them in a little less volume because, like you said, his minutes are going to be a little less. But with that being said, I think that the positives that he does will stay the same as far as like he's going to get those hustle rebounds, with the second group. He's going to have some nice transition points. He's going to have opportunities to push it up the floor and be like a secondary assist guy. But a lot of the mistakes and the misses and the Joshisms, we call it, that seem to happen when he has that extended time on the court. So I don't think the negatives will shine as much because of his less playing time. I just think he's going to be more efficient. He's going to be able to do what Josh has, because Josh only knows one speed. He's like the Energizer Bunny. He just goes in and he'll be able to do that, and it won't burn. He won't be burnt out. So I think the time he spends in the game's gonna be quality time, because he knows he doesn't have as much to do it. Before he had that security blanket. Oh, I know I'm gonna get 38 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Now it's like, all right, I gotta do all I can right now. I might only get 25, 28 minutes this game.
My sense of it is, the more I hear y'all speak about Josh, the more I think, man, I think Josh is gonna make Landry Shamet expendable, right? Because if we get that causes the cascade or domino effect to Josh, which creates the cascading or domino effect to Landry Shamet, right? And because I too agree. I think a Swiss Army knife has a lot of, like, if Josh is a jack of all trades, that means he's going to be relatively good at a lot of stuff. And if there are a few things where we won't necessarily need Josh, then I think Josh will thrive in other roles, right? Like, I think there is in a weird, twisted world, I think there is a transition Josh, right? Like that Scottie Pippen Josh, right? That can facilitate in the open floor when there's no direct on-ball pressure, right? I think his defense may be better when he doesn't have to have his head on a swivel, and he can read the floor defensively and play defense based on knowing that there is a decent point of attack defender where he can play in between the ball and the man and watch passing lanes and things of that sort and grab rebounds. But if that's the Josh that we get, if Mikal Bridges is, just for the sake of conversation, if Josh Hart is the teacher, if Mikal Bridges is the new teacher's pet, then I think Josh Hart, the Swiss Army knife, looks to do other stuff to impact winning and help the team win, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think he'll be in the game more often when the other team's bench is in than he was before, and so he won't have situations where he has to defend Tatum or Brown or whoever the other,
or Porzingis.
Whoever the other wing or big wing is on the other team. Like, now, he might have to defend like someone like a Toppin or, guys like that. The guys that come off the bench. And I think he's going to do better in those scenarios than when he's counted on to defend more starting caliber players. Because, I don't think a lot of Josh's shortcomings, no pun intended, are due to his lack of ability to play defense. I think sometimes he was put in positions that weren't suited for his skill set or size.
Right.
And I don't think he's as good on defense when he has too many assignments to think of. I think he's one of those. I mean, we have these position guys in football all the time. Like, you have the see ball, get ball guys,
Right.
Then there's the guys that have all the responsibilities before the play, like calling out positioning and all this stuff. And Josh is one of those see ball, get ball guys. He's okay with if he's told cover your guy in front of you. But when Josh has to, do I close out or do I drop back for a rebound? Like when he's given that choice,
he has to calculate things.
Yeah, it's
it goes down.
Josh is a better reactive player than he is a cerebral thinker player.
Right.
So I just think he's more of a reactive athlete. And I think when he's put in those scenarios, he does better than when he's given a plan and too much stuff laid out for him,
I think that's weird. I think that's his fit, though. His fit is to be in my opinion, the best version of Josh Hart is the third guard when you have two other guards on the floor, not in the three-guard rotation, right? Now, he can't be dependent on to be your third guard in a rotation, like take out Brunson and add Josh Hart. No. But if you have Brunson, Clarkson, and Josh, or Clarkson, Deuce, and Josh, I think that's his thing where he can grab a rebound or go get the ball from a rebounded shot and push the tempo. I think that's where he thrives. Also, where I think he thrives is by being a more powerful guard than the guards that you have. Because in the league is littered with big, strong guards. But their downfall is when they play against other big, strong guards, they're neutralized because their superpower, their strength, is neutralized by another big, strong guard's strength, so to speak. Right? And so I think those moments when we get to a play Oklahoma City type situation, I wouldn't be mad at seeing Josh Hart guard SGA. Right. I wouldn't be mad at seeing him guard Halliburton. I wouldn't be mad at seeing him guard Luka. Luka's going to roast anybody, so it don't matter. Right. I wouldn't be mad at seeing him guard Devin Booker. Now, what I would be frustrated with is those guys being on the floor and Josh Hart is guarding away, like guarding Kevin Durant. Right. Now, that would still frustrate me if that's still an issue. Cash, what's good, bro?
What's up? Salute,
Cash.
Salute.
So Cash. So we got a bunch of topics in that joint that I sent you. I'm just gonna try to get to as much as I can for the season preview because there are a ton of questions that we need to have answered. Right now, we were talking about which Knicks player is most likely to break out and be better than what they've shown you. And the answer to that from the panel has been Mikal Bridges. And I asked in a side question to it, an adjacent question, well, what does that mean for Josh Hart? And so that's where we are. So what do you think Josh Hart's role is going to be if Mikal Bridges is the breakout candidate?
I feel that Josh, as sentiments have already expressed, will continue to be Josh, but it will be reduced. It will be somewhat in a reduced role because of the reduced minutes and the restrictions. That will probably more than likely, not probably, but more than likely will be placed on him because of Mike Brown's system and how he wants to play. So a lot of the I think coach, you kind of pretty much covered it already. A lot of the positive that he's done, he'll continue to do, and hopefully it will help to diminish some of the negative things that we saw that he was able to do as well. So I think if he can still have the same impact at a reduced minutes rate, I'll take it. I'll take it. If he can still do Josh things, playing, less minutes that will impact the team and help the team, that's good. That's just adding another season into the pot of soup.
Okay. Jay, I have a question for you.
By the way,
So my question is, does an injured Josh Hart provide you the same Josh Hart stuff? Like right now,
injured
he's got
Josh
the
Hart?
finger and back spasms.
Oh, I think more or less it's precautionary, and I think, to be absolutely honest, in years past, Josh will play through just about anything, and he probably give you the same baseline of competence because a lot of the stuff he does and stuff he plays through takes an insane amount of pain tolerance. To be absolutely honest with you, like the dude was playing through full-blown injuries in the playoffs, playing 40+ minutes and giving you the same productivity. Now, is that a good or a bad thing? Depending on context, that's all contextual. So I think I'm not necessarily as concerned with the finger. The finger bothered me at first, but it's just like it is what it is. The back, I'm not sure if those spasms are a real serious injury, but I'd have to play it by ear to be absolutely sure. I think he got a tweak, and it was a couple weeks ago, and they didn't like careful with it.
Right.
But I have all the confidence in Casey on our staff, keeping these guys ready to go, if they're ready or not, because they've already taken that approach and being careful with Mitch Robinson.
Okay.
We never heard the term load management under Tom Thibodeau.
No, Tom Thibodeau would have
They
fainted.
immediately got Mike Brown, and you saw load management in the headline.
Right.
So,
Oh man. Coach, you had something about Josh and injuries?
I mean, Josh is one of those guys that I think he's always got some kind of owie. Like most professional athletes always have something bothering them a little bit. And especially the way he plays, he's like a crash test dummy kind of guy. Like he's always one of them guys that's always a little banged up. You always see him wincing and kind of like his back or his hands or something.
Right.
So I think he's the type that the things he does, he fights through those things, and I don't think it changes his game much. If anything, him playing less is going to help, keep those things from lingering, like those injuries. Sometimes I think a player like him gets the hustle injuries, banging into people, jumping on the floor, running the floor a lot, banging in traffic and layups and rebounds with guys bigger than you. It's not like it's a hand or a finger on his shooting hand where he's this lockdown shooter and it's going to affect the shooting or anything. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, the thing is, what we shored up this year, bench-wise, and Mitch being in the starting lineup, it's allowed Josh to step back his responsibilities because we don't need Josh to score off the bench as much because now we have Clarkson and Yabusele that find a way to get the ball in the basket. And we're hoping Deuce continues that. So he's really off the bench. He's still only the fourth option as far as who's looking to score if that group's in the game.
I'm talking about Josh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not like he has any more pressing responsibilities that he would have had if we didn't pick up Clarkson and Yabusele, So I just think, like I said, in his limited minutes and coming off the bench, we can ease him back in because our reliance on some of the things he does. I think anything Josh contributes now is just going to be icing on the cake than something that we need to win. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's something that I think is going to, the things Josh provides on top of what our starters do and who we've picked up is going to be the difference in us being a 60-win team if he's healthy and does all the things he can do. And then if we're just, a 55-win team or something, I think Josh makes us a runaway best team when he's doing great things off the bench,
Okay.
But if he's banged up and he's not, then, we might have a tougher time in some of these games. I don't know, but I think he makes us just that much better, but I don't think we need the things he does to be a winning team. I just think we're going to be a more dominant team if Josh is doing things well.
Over 82 game schedule for sure.
Yeah.
But let me do this. I want to circle back to the question because I asked I asked Dre, and I want to give y'all, I want to submit for the conversation the player I think is going to break out this season, because I just want to put a rock in y'all shoe because I think it's just fun, right? I think the breakout player this year is going to be OG. I legitimately think OG Anunoby is going to be a top 5 defender for the Knicks this year. Now, remember,
For the Knicks or the NBA?
no, he definitely top 5 defender for the Knicks. He definitely top 5 for the Knicks. But I think what we didn't get it, because this will be OG Anunoby's 3rd year with the Knicks, right? Doesn't seem like it, but my high time flies, right? This will be OG's 3rd season with the Knicks. What we didn't see in the previous 2 seasons, unfair or not, we hadn't seen athletic freight train OG Anunoby. Why is that? Because of pace of play. Like the pace was legit in the bottom 85%, 80%.
We saw it the first half of last season. And then when teams adjusted, you saw less and less of it.
Yeah, it went away. Right. It went away. Now I'm gonna ask y'all, Knicks fans, this. Has there been a time when the Knicks spread the floor and it seemed like OG Anunoby was dunking 3 or 4 times a game?
When he first got here.
Yeah, remember that, right? Remember
Teams only knew how to weaponize gravity if it's an on-ball player that can score from the mid-range or the mid-post. Where he would weaponize Julius Randle and his passing ability. But when he got a new roster, he didn't know how to unlock OG attacking off-ball against mismatches and cross matches, not nearly as well as he knew how to do that when he had Randle. And for that, that's why Tibbs is
right, because here's the thing. Mitchell Robinson and OG Anunoby are fast and quick twitchy, right? But just not with the basketball in their hands. Like they're not going to dribble by anybody to dunk. But if you ask them to cut or throw them lobs, they can go get it. And I think that aspect of OG Anunoby will be unlocked, especially when you press 2 guys into these deep corners. And not shallow corners either. Like not the Kevin Knox corner, where it's almost like the wing. Like I am in the corner. Bro, you on the wing. Oh, I thought it was the corner. Nah, no. These these deep corners where defenders legitimately have to take an extra step out towards that area, and you give OG and others these wide turnpike level lanes to cut to the rim without being bumped off, I think it only benefits OG Anunoby and his finishing ability at the rim. Right. right? I think over the past few years we hadn't taken advantage of explosive athletes. I think we have a couple, right? I just don't think we've taken advantage of it. We didn't take advantage of it when Obi was here. Like we didn't cut OG Anunoby. Not OG Anunoby. We didn't cut Obi Toppin off the wing or back door to throw lobs to him to showcase his athleticism. We just didn't, right? Because we would dribble into a 14-footer that was a safe shot to take.
I want to add this too as well. I think pushing the pace, you'll see OG get a lot more cross matches and have the ability to seal. Like if he has a little guard on him, he can seal right under the rim and bully. I think we did that more in early parts of the season, and then we didn't see it nearly as much going forward.
Right. These are the things. That's why I'm saying I think OG Anunoby's transition defense and his half-court defense married together will show you a different version of what OG Anunoby can do. Because we don't even think about OG Anunoby, the shot blocker or the shot changer, right? Because for the most part, guys usually are ISO'd or something on the other side of the floor, or OG is on the ball where he can't do these other things. But if you put the point guard or two guards the guard, Bridges can guard the wing. Now OG away from the ball can do other stuff defensively. And the same thing for Mikal Bridges. When they're not on the ball, they can do a lot of things. It's kind of like when you take Earl Thomas out of coverage and he gets to patrol, or you take Cam Chancellor out of coverage and they get to patrol. They look a lot different as DBs, as when they have to cover Gronk.
I just wanted to say that the strength of Wingstop referring to OG and Mikal Bridges, using the football analogy, is to play free safety. Because with free safety, the operative word is free, where they can roam. We had a small taste of Mikal Bridges doing that in the Boston series at the close of the series with the Tatum block and the picked off of the pass. Keep in mind that he was not the primary defender. The fact that he acted in the role of a free safety enabled him to get into the passing lanes. That's what makes Mikal Bridges and OG so effective. And coming into the season, if they're empowered to be or play like that free safety, and not so much of a demand for them to be on-ball defenders, knowing the fact that if Mitch is starting and they have Mitch behind them, we could be a high caliber defense in the league. And as far as what you were saying, as far as OG being a game changer, that could very well be possible, because they will be empowered to be able to play to their strengths, because that is a part of their strengths as players, and that's how they are recognized in the league defensively, and earn the the keep that they have, and the respect that they have in the league as to who they are, the player,
right,
as players.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that, Coach?
I mean,
wings being free to be wings.
That's to me, I've always, although I'm a coach at heart, I've always been the kind of coach that trusts when you have certain players that have a knack for something that's uncoachable, like some players, like especially OG, like we talk about it all the time mid-game. Some of the things he does that don't show up on the stat sheet, like he just moves like the Matrix, like his cat-like quickness for being a bigger guy, and The way he knows that he can fill the lanes and swipe at the ball.
Right.
You know, him and Mikal Bridges both have some of those sixth sense things defensively, which makes all defenders, the good defenders, what they are. They have this sixth sense for just the ball, you know, defensively. And when you corner and pigeonhole players like that to like structured assignments, it takes away from those abilities, in my eyes, you know. So when you have players like that defensively, it's good to use their flexibility and their abilities in a way to give the players like that freedom, a little more freedom to do those things that are instinctual for them. You know, you want to give structure to guys that aren't as good naturally defensively. Yeah, I'm fine with that. But guys like OG, Mitch, you know, Mikal, like let them, like you said, have an area to do what they do best instead of this is your guy or this is your lane or this is your spot, you know. So, and that's where we're very fortunate to have two guys. And really, if you add Mitch, we have three guys that are elite defenders that most teams would die to have, you know, for that job.
Okay. Okay. All right. What I was thinking is when y'all were mentioning that, just slight things, just like coachy basketball stuff. Like what I noticed is, in previous years, the Knicks up top wouldn't switch and would chase, which put them in a trail position. Even if they fought through screens, they would still be in a trail position. And it's science, because even if they stayed even with a guy, even through a screen, that means either they fouled somebody or somebody fouled them. Two things can't exist in the same place, right? But what I noticed in Mike Brown defense is when guys get close to that, if they can't navigate the screen, they switch and people get flat. So if the screen is here and I can't go through it, right, and going under it is a detriment, I can at least switch, and coach could pop out to show so that this guy doesn't take off or try to shoot the three and then delay long enough for me to recover to my man until I get back. Right. And the defense recovers. Right. So you can run all the screen actions, whether it's your left screen or your right screen up top, things of that sort. Or you can do Jalen Brunson's long arm of the law, like the hard hedge way out. And then, but at the same time, what I noticed in the Minnesota game specifically, is that Jalen Brunson would make his decision early and communicate it. Like, no. Like he would be like if it comes time to switch and he prefer not to switch, he just tell the guys, even if it meant like pushing the guy away, like, no, I got him. Right. Now we know Jalen Brunson can't guard Anthony Edwards because nobody can guard Anthony Edwards. Right. But at the same time, what your defense looks like when you have Anthony Edwards on Jalen Brunson and you take away Anthony Edwards' playmaking for the sake of maybe having him score. Because the thing about Anthony Edwards and guys like Anthony Edwards, they're not dangerous if they go off for 45 or 50. They're dangerous if they go off for 45 and 50 and have 13 rebounds, 11 assists, 4 steals, and they're marching dimes to the free throw line. That's when they're dangerous, right? Like if a guy legitimately goes 11 for 15 from 3, there's nothing that you can do to stop him anyway. He's just hot, right? If a guy legitimately goes, nuclear in a thing, we've seen tons of guys score tons of buckets in losing efforts. In this defense, where you see guys are just waiting to cut the driving lane off, right? Like Cash, I'll give an example of it. When teams back in the 21 season, when the fourth seed season, when teams would put their worst defender on Julius Randle and then bring the zombie double. It's kind of like, in a sense, that's what we're doing, where we put, and I'm not saying anything about Brunson because Brunson has been playing commendable defense. But is he a better defender than Bridges, OG, or Mitch? Nah, he's not that guy. Well, most people aren't. Most people are not. Right? But with that said, I think the freight train OG that we get this year, based off of him having driving lanes to the rim or cutting lanes to the rim, catching the ball at the rim and finishing, throwing lobs to OG, getting out in transition and running, I think that's going to lead to OG and Anunoby in an uptick in scoring and probably an uptick in defense. What now? My concern is how much of high leverage, high pace, or high leverage, high paced minutes the same as the minutes that they played last year. What do you guys think about that? Like, if they play less minutes, does that mean they'll stay fresher?
I think they'll stay fresher, but it also feels like if they play less minutes, they can play those same minutes at a higher intensity.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, because what Mike Brown expects, he does expect a faster pace. So even though, like, 32 minutes playing for Mike Brown at that pace is going to be a lot different than, 35 minutes at a slow pace,
And I think to that point, Coach, I think a lot of people misconstrue pace completely. If you're looking at like our offensive sets, particularly the last game, when he's actually dialing up plays, we're going into action after action over and over, whereas prior iterations, we bring the ball up. It's 14 seconds left on the shot clock. The first action doesn't work, immediate isolation for the last 7 seconds of the shot clock.
Yeah.
This iteration, we try to chain like 4 or 5 actions in a row back to back until we get something that we want.
Right.
I say less minutes leads to longevity, and you guys hit it pretty much on the point in respects that how those minutes are distributed and the energy that is expended in those minutes. Actually, I think you might even see better play because of the fact that you're going to play less minutes, so you're going to give. You're going not to say that they haven't given all effort, but you will make an extended effort knowing that you're not going to be playing all those minutes, and sometimes that may make a difference, depending on the game situations, matchups, and things of that nature. So, but I think the less minutes will help in reference to longevity, and then Dre, as you mentioned, at the end of games where Brunson hasn't played, let's say, 39 minutes already, say he's played only 30 or 32 minutes, then, he has the energy in those one-on-one isolations when it's money. In other words, when it's money time, they ready.
Yeah,
they're ready. And they'll have the energy to play.
Okay.
And if you look at franchises that Mike Brown's been a part of, okay, that he was assistant coaches to, the San Antonio Spurs during their run and the Warriors during theirs, he saw firsthand how, and he was part, so it wasn't like he was just sitting there on the bench. He was actively coaching too, assistant coach that actively coached. He was part of those squads that, yes, they did have star players in their starting lineup, but they were used in a way more efficiently. They watched their minutes, they watched their games, how many games they played, and preserved all them guys on the Spurs, and they all used their benches. Because even though, were the starting lineups as good as those starting lineups in the league during those times they were winning? and they still found ways to have 10-man rotations on those teams. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So he's been a part of and seen firsthand. He personally hasn't had the luxury of head coaching a team that has had that problem yet until now that he's with the Knicks. Like when he was at Sacramento and Cleveland and the Lakers, yeah, he was top heavy. They had one or two stars, but then the rest were all journeymen or whatever. When he was the head coach before, and with Sacramento, he just had a young team, with Harrison Barnes, whatever. But for us, now he has a team like he had at Golden State and San Antonio. He has some star players, and now he has a deep bench. So now we can see what he can do, what he's used to doing on those other teams, I think. So, and if you look at San Antonio and the Golden State teams, those guys that were star players, because they followed that certain model, Popovich, all those guys had a very lengthy career. Every one of them guys. Duncan played a long time. Ginobili played a long time. Parker, David Robinson, all those, like all the Warriors players are still, playing. So maybe a lot can be said to, preserving and getting the most you can out of your teams.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, as much as we see Steph Curry run around the court, we very rarely have seen him tired. Very rarely. And again, that's a testament to the minutes distribution, so on and so forth. Of how he runs his regime. The other thing I was going to say, I thought it was funny. I was thinking about what you were saying, Coach. I was comparing it to the game of spades, whereas in Sacramento, he only had 2 books. But with us, he's got at least 7, 8 books. So,
yeah.
and if and for those
in
spades
Sacramento, we
players
had like
that
the king of spade and the jack of spade, but no other spades. Here he's got about 8 spades.
and with us, he's loaded. I mean, I'm not saying we gonna go to Boston, do a Boston or anything like that. But in other words, he's got better cards to play with. So it's just a matter of managing, using them, and playing your hand. So we'll see what happens, man. Like I said, I'm excited, and I expect to see all y'all in June in the Canyon of what do they call it? The Canyon of Champions or whatever
Bro,
it's called.
if you win a championship, I'm not wearing a shirt for a year, bro.
No, hey, be careful, man. Hold on.
The helicopter above your head.
Chat. Check this out. Freezie and no shirt, man. You sure you want to do that? Because I know Shaq made something ridiculous. He knew that wasn't gonna happen. You sure about this, man? You sure? You got a chance to retract, man. Oh man. So when I come to the parade, man, when we finally meet face to face, man, you can't have no shirt on.
That's how you'll find me.
Okay.
Go find.
Man, I hope you're drunk so you don't remember.
Go find a dude that look like. Just look for the dude that looked like the Predator and Santa Claus mixed together.
I remember you talking about that.
With no shirt on, and that'll be me. The dude that looked like Santa Claus and the Predator mixed together, that'll be me.
Oh man. Right. Well, yeah, man.
So what about this? What about this then? How comfortable are y'all with how the Knicks can navigate the Eastern Conference this year with a couple of teams down and a couple of seasons on the rise?
I mean, I said this the last time we got together. Even with those 2 injuries, if they didn't happen with Halliburton and Tatum, I still think we're the team to beat, But now I feel there should be no excuse this year, honestly, at this point. I'm just going to be real. Like, it's finals or bust for me, And when I say bust, it's not like I'm going to be like, blow the team up if we lose in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be heartbroken and upset. I'm going to think we should win it for sure. But there's no reason this team shouldn't win. And if we don't, it's either because we shot like crap. I don't think it's going to be because of Mike Brown's decisions. I mean, I don't know. That's just my personal opinion.
For the you talking about for the season? I'm asking about the season. Are you talking about for the season, for the 82 game stretch, or are you talking about playoffs?
Oh, you mean just for the whole regular season?
Yeah, like how you think the Knicks are going to fare in the Eastern Conference in this gauntlet? That's the Eastern, because we know two teams have injuries, major injuries, but other teams are on the rise, right?
I think we're a 60-win team.
Okay.
Like, and I think we're the team to beat. Like, we already bullied Cleveland. Like, what Cleveland's advantage is against every other team has been the way Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley's been doing what they do to other teams. But against us, and this is even before we had Cat. Like,
what do they do to other teams though?
I just think their size, like, is a problem for other teams. But for some reason against us, it's not a problem.
But they don't put a 7-footer on the floor, though, Coach.
I know they're not listed as 7 foot, but they play longer than they are. You know, like Jarrett Allen, even though he's listed at 6'9" or 6'10" or whatever, I mean, he plays like a 7-footer. You know what I mean? Like, he's got 7'6" wingspan or something. And, you know, same with Evan Mobley. Like, he's got more perimeter skills, but he plays big, you know. But they're small at the guard. You know, Mitchell and Garland are small guards. So,
right.
Strus is hurt for them. You know, people don't talk about his injury much. But, you know, DeAndre Hunter is going to be pushed more into a bigger role this year for them until he gets back. So, I mean, that's the only team in my eyes and I'm not disrespecting or sleeping on Detroit, Orlando, Atlanta, but they got a lot to prove in my eyes.
I think, and to be absolutely honest, even going beyond the East and looking towards the West, whoever comes out the West is going to have to go through 2 or 3 grueling series to even get to the finals. So who you see, even if you view them on paper, hey, OKC is a bad matchup for us, they're going to have to go through a gauntlet to even get to us. I think opposed to us having 1, maybe 2 really, really tough series. The West.
I think the same thing could be said about. I'm sorry about cutting you off, but I think the same thing could be said about the East. I think Detroit is not a given to give the Knicks a scare like they did last year, right? I don't think Boston is a given to give the Knicks a scare. I don't think Indiana is. I don't think Atlanta is. Atlanta, for all the names that they have on paper, they have a ton of internal stuff going on. Like, is Trae Young's contract extension going to be a distraction? Like, they have a bunch of stuff that they have to consider. To Dre's point though about the West, I think that's where the Eastern Conference is. I think the Celtics and Pacers are going to regress back to the mean because of injury and because of roster decisions, right? I think Milwaukee is going to be in that middle ground somewhere between 45 and 55 wins. I think that's where Indiana and Boston and Orlando and maybe even Cleveland, like, may be in that range of the gauntlet. I think where the Knicks are is the Knicks never had a, in my opinion, never had a personnel issue. Like, the talent between Cleveland, New York, Boston, and everybody that Indiana that was great last year I think the Knicks didn't have a talent issue. I think they had a schematic, strategic deficiency at times that kind of hindered how you managed the talent.
Stephon Bondi said, like Stephon Bondi reported, basically, there were murmurs from OKC basically saying they would rather play the Knicks because the Knicks are easier to play. Schematically, they just play the same way every time.
Right. Basically. And we recognize that. We recognized that for 3 years. So no disrespect to Bondi, but we already knew that. We knew that when Derrick Rose and Evan Fournier was on the bench against Miami, and Tibbs subbed out Brunson and Randall and played Deuce McBride instead of Derrick Rose or Evan Fournier. We knew that, like in real time, right? This year though, I think how Cleveland jumped out on teams last year is not teams are already going to expect that this year. They're going to expect that double point guard attack from either side of the floor with Garland or with Donovan Mitchell. And with Donovan Mitchell getting those catch and shoots last year, people didn't expect him to get a lot of catch and shoots. They expected him to be the athletic finisher in traffic. But now that we know Donovan Mitchell can be a decent spot-up shooter when the ball is not in his hands, you can play your defense accordingly. Now you don't have to, overreact or underreact to Donovan Mitchell offensively. And now, if Jalen Brunson can guard Darius Garland to a standstill, right? If you asked basketball heads in a matchup 1-on-1, who would you prefer? The Lonzo Garland, because Garland is out till December, I think, maybe.
Maybe November. I think he's just gonna miss a few weeks. I don't think it's. I mean, It's a serious injury, but I don't believe he's going to be out for an extended amount of time.
Yeah, I would say this. I like the Knicks matchup with Jalen Brunson applying pressure or at least playing the point of attack, because in that matchup we win, because if we get Mikal Bridges guarding Donovan Mitchell, we win. If we get Mitchell Robinson guarding Evan Mobley, we win. If we get Karl-Anthony Towns guarding Jarrett Allen, we win. If we get OG Anunoby guarding DeAndre Hunter, we win. Right? All those matchups, right? And in my opinion, and I say that not because I just want to take my shirt off. I say that because I feel like in those matchups, we just have the better matchup. Now, when we go to the bench, every NBA bench on every night, it remains to be seen who's going to be hot coming off whose bench, right? It's just one of those things where whose bench is going to cook is the game at home or away, things of that sort. So when it comes to like the gauntlet, in my opinion, I think look for the Knicks to be far and away the best team in the East during the regular season, right? I'm just saying during the regular season, will the Knicks have flaws? Yes. Will the Knicks lose games? Yes. At times, will they look bad? Yes. A lot of teams go through that. Champions don't go, 82 plus 16? Champions don't go 98-0. There are going to be some games that'll be lost, and some of those games are going to look bad, right? But for the most part, I think there you have the Knicks, and then you have a clump of teams that'll be 2 through 7-ish, depending on how Atlanta and Chicago and maybe Charlotte get their act together. We don't know for sure, but we know Orlando is going to be a player. We know Indiana is going to be a player. We know Milwaukee's going to be a player. We know Cleveland's going to be a player. We know Boston's going to be a player. It's just the teams outside of that grouping that will probably, and Detroit also, it's those teams outside of that grouping that we'll be having to account for, basically. And the cool thing is, in an 82 game schedule, you don't play the same team every night. So you play Cleveland and Boston in 1 week, and then the next week you might be playing Brooklyn and Toronto. Who knows?
I still don't think Detroit's better than Indiana, Milwaukee, or Boston. That's just my opinion. I think people are so obsessed with how good they think Detroit is because we played like crap in that series. They think that Detroit's that good.
Yeah, we had a flaw. We had a flaw in that. Yeah, Kerry
Kate
Cox
Cunningham
the
is
Raptors
unbelievable.
may make the play in. I don't know, bro. Hey, bro. I just can't. The talk part, I get it. Like, hey man, don't sleep on
Of course
Toronto.
you do, Sherwin.
Y'all gotta show me something, bro. That was random as hell. That was random as hell. Yo, quickly and RJ Barrett. Salute to my people.
Who else did Detroit add besides Ivy coming back?
Right.
They lost Schroeder, Hardaway Jr., and Beasley.
I think the problem for Detroit, I think they have a solid initial starting five. It's going to be their bench. Because remember, they had Tim Hardaway Jr., they had Beasley, they had a couple of guys, despite the Jaden Ivey injury. And I think their bench is not going to be as strong this year, and it probably will help lead to their undoing, especially if they have some injuries, during the course of the year to any of their core five. But
right.
I mean, we'll see how things play out. So
they had a veteran. They had veterans on their bench that came in and made plays. Tobias Harris played out of his mind in certain games. Like some games he disappeared, and some games he was great. But Tobias Harris playing backup center, if we're nervous about Tobias Harris playing backup center, then
I think a lot of that series was closer than it should have been, and I put that blame on Tibbs, to be absolutely honest with you. That series should not have been close at all from a talent standpoint.
Yeah, and the other thing, I just want to dovetail back on the Cleveland thing. Indiana in that series last year kind of exposed Cleveland, even though they had some injuries. I mean, I know that's a series that we probably didn't follow closely as Knicks fans and was probably shocked. But with their pace of the way that Indiana and their pace of play rather, that was something that Cleveland wasn't prepared for. And I think with this Mike Brown system, I mean, Cleveland is a threat, don't get me wrong. But me personally are very confident for the very reason that I'm speaking of, because I don't think they can deal with a transition, fast-paced team, one, and two, the fact that we have the mental edge over Cleveland. Because think about it, they have not beaten us in a series. Now, they've won games during the regular season. Yeah, okay, I give them that. But playoff series, they haven't beaten us. They haven't. We still have the mental edge over Cleveland.
Okay.
We do. They haven't beaten us.
Right.
Yeah, they beat us in the regular season, but I'm talking about when it's time to push all the chips to the middle of the table. Have Cleveland beaten us? No, they haven't. They haven't gotten over the hump. So until they do, I'm very confident if we played them in the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, yeah, that would give them some juice to want to beat us. I mean, Detroit probably going to have the same juice coming in the regular season, but from April to June, nah, man. I'm going with my Knicks.
So I got a couple of other questions, just really quick. So the two questions I have, and then I got to get y'all season prediction, right? So question number 1 is who will be the first real Knick to be traded? And question number 2 is if the Knicks don't win the championship, is this a disappointment? Right.
What's the qualifier for real Knick?
For what?
What's the qualifier for real Knick? Who's the first real Knick to get traded? That's a
rotational player.
Deuce. Oh, are we answering right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
It might be a combination of Deuce and another player to be named. Deuce and Josh.
It's a takeover. Here, your boys in the building.
Salute, G.I.
G.I. in the building.
How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? Oh, jeez.
I'm eating dinner, so I'm keeping low. What up, Coach? What up, DJ Cash? What up, everybody? Big Freezie.
Salute.
What up?
Yeah.
You excited? 2 days away?
Yeah. So the questions, the 2 questions that we have are this. Who is the first real Knick to be traded? And will this season be disappointment if the Knicks don't win a championship? Those are the 2 questions that we have right now.
So for me, I think we'll get desperate, especially Rose having to fire his man. We all know that. It was the family. We all know this was the family they came with. So I think we'll scrap the youth movement. So Packham, Dottier, Miles McBride, Tyler, even I don't know how much value he has. I think the young guys will go on the low contracts will be first. And disappointment, no, because continuity, I saw one of the topics. Yes, that matters. But starting a new system, man, it's going to be a lot of growing pains. We got to know there's going to be growing pains. So, and I know that's one of the questions coming up later, but I would say we have high expectations, but there's still a lot of potential for the unknown and some hiccups.
Right.
Yo, what's up, GI? Sorry, I've been listening.
All right. So yeah, so Coach, the which core Knick will be the first to be traded, and will the season be a disappointment if the Knicks don't win a championship?
So am I assuming, or are we assuming this is going to be a trade deadline move if it happens?
Nah. Remember the question: which core Knick is the first to be traded? It's not about like when they'll be traded or for whichever.
I think it's going to be Deuce, but I think it should be Josh Hart, to be honest with you. And it's not a knock on Josh, not because I hate Josh or don't think Josh should do anything here. It's just a gut feeling. I think that the things that our team is going to be doing well and the way that the system is here, Josh could flourish, but I think cheaper players and versions of Josh, a cheaper version of Josh is going to flourish just as well as Josh would in this system. I just think it's going to come down to a money thing, because I think it's going to come down to if and when Mitch stays healthy and shows that he needs to be extended and re-signed. We got to have that money, bro, because let's face it, Mitch is going to warrant 25 to 30 million, you know?
Yeah.
So with that being said, Josh's salary is a lot for what we're really going to be needing him for at this moment. Like, Josh's salary was justified when he might have been our second or third best starter like a year or two ago. 2 years ago in that playoff series, because of our injuries. But now that salary is expendable, man. Just being real.
I really crafted that question for Dre because I know how him and Cowboy Bob legitimately used to go at it last summer. Coach, remember that last summer? So Cash, my
Yeah, I remember.
My thing is this, right? If the Knicks get out to a very good start and Josh Hart's role is lessened, I think Knicks fans are going to be pointing to how the Knicks are playing good without Josh Hart contributing majorly, right? And then Kerry Cox. Hey, I'm gonna get to that. Kerry Cox is reading my mind. Kerry Cox is reading my mind. He says Josh Hart has to embrace his role off the bench, and here's the thing though, and this may be just to my man Kerry Cox. Here's the thing: if he embraces that role off the bench, making $20 million off the bench, I think Knicks fans are going to be like, why are we paying a guy $20 million to provide this off the bench when that can legitimately be two quality NBA players, like one at 15 and one at 5, right? Or two at 10, or however you view it.
I'm gonna say this. Because of the financial situation that we're in. Now I'm first of all, let me preface this by saying that I'm speaking strictly from a business perspective, not a talent perspective, but a business perspective. When we look at the team as currently constructed financially right now, we're carrying a lot. It brings us to, the second apron. As we all know, you can't cross that threshold, blah, 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 whatever. Now, I don't claim to be a financial whiz. I mean, I know a few things about finance. I don't claim to be a wizard of it of any kind. That's my disclaimer. But anyway, with Mitch's impending extension, Deuce is going to get the bag at some point. We can't keep everybody. We can't keep it as currently constructed. Even if we win the chip, we may not be able to do that. So the question is going to arise then: who provides the most value, or who is more important going forward? I mean, when we win the chip, I mean, that's something. That's a beautiful thing. But usually, when teams win championships, players move on. And even if we don't win the chip, because of the financial constraints we have, players, they got to move players. So, candidates for that, as hard as that is, yeah, Josh Hart is a candidate. Because Josh Hart, because of his salary, could bring back value. Now, I know I might get hated for this, but even Mitch's contract, if Mitch were ever to be traded, big if, because of the money that is owed to him, he could also bring back value. Deuce's contract, as it's currently constructed, is not going to bring back value. He's not getting paid much. But we're not going to be able to extend Mitch and extend McBride and hold serve as our team is currently constructed. So we are going to lose somebody eventually. It's the inevitable, in other words, because we just can't afford it. It's going to happen.
No team can afford it. We have the salary.
And just to provide a side point of an example to this, a team that's going to run into the same problem because of what they've done over the summer, that's already being projected, if you do some homework on it, is OKC. Because they gave their three big guns all that money. And they're not going to be able to pay too many other people going forward in the years to come. I mean, it's all good right now, but into 2 to 3 years later, they're not going to be able to keep that team as currently constructed because other players are going to be needing to get paid. Remember, Hartenstein's contract wasn't that long. Hartenstein's contract wasn't that long. So if they want to keep him, they're going to have to pay him. But at the same time, you got a couple of other guys on that team that's looking to get their bag. So something got to give. Now, coming back to the Knicks, to our team, somebody we're gonna lose somebody who who that player is. I don't know, but I just know from a business perspective that at some point we can't maintain all of these salaries. So somebody's gonna either get traded or not going to get extended or anything. I would probably say the biggest precursor to that to watch as the season unfolds is the Mitchell Robinson situation, because obviously that's at the top of the topic of conversation right now. Because
So the Knicks,
I'm sorry. All right, no, let me just say this. I'll just say this as a prediction. If somehow, some way Mitch gets extended, Deuce is gone. But if Mitch doesn't get extended, Mitch could be gone because we won't be able to afford him. And then at the same time, Deuce is going to get the bag. But my gut feeling is, I think I would probably say long term.
Where do you justify this bag for Deuce?
What's that?
Oh, let him finish, Coach.
I just want him to say this. While he has his turn, I want him to elaborate on the Deuce.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say Mitch is more valuable than Deuce. That I think Deuce is replaceable with a cheaper asset, whereas Mitch's I don't think can be replicated with anyone. But we'll see how it plays out.
So the issue is not the Knicks being able to afford players, because there is really no salary cap as long as you're willing to pay the luxury tax. There's nothing Dolan won't pay.
You can go over to spend on your own players,
especially with Mitch being your own player. The biggest concern of Knicks fans for Mitch is whether Mitch wants to be back here next year. For years and years and years, Mitch has complained. Forget his injuries. He's always complained about his role. So we'll see what his role is, right? But Mitch is an unrestricted free agent. He can leave for a similar contract or a little less. I mean, he'd be foolish not to get his payday. So the Knicks definitely have to be careful lowballing Mitch, because one thing we know about Mitch, which we probably don't know about Deuce, which is no question whether Mitch is more valuable, is there will be a big market for Mitchell Robinson next year. Any team that has some cap space that could potentially be a championship caliber team, Mitch puts them there. Look what happened to Hartenstein. Same thing with Hartenstein. Now, Mitch and Hartenstein are different situations. Hartenstein had this weird thing where he moved to so many teams, and basically, if you read into the letter of the Hartenstein rule, it was about players who exceed their contracts for many years. They deserve a payday. So it's like a real union mindset. And I don't have no problem with that. If that's what the two sides negotiate on, it ain't none of my business. But if we do move players, like what Freezie said, I think Josh Hart would probably be the first of the core that's moved. But you got to move other players with them, some of these younger players with them, because your biggest issue is having the roster spots. Remember, Our problem this summer, I mean this training camp was we had a lot of good players that could stay on this team. But when you look at the drafted players that you know not going to play, it's hard to make room for those guys because you can't just cut your guys you drafted. That's dumb. We already draft, and then you start cutting guys you drafted and let them go to other teams without trade. So that's why any trade we do will probably be multiple players for one player, or maybe 4 players for 2, because you just don't have the roster spots because of the players on your team under contract, not 2 ways under contract. I yield to the floor.
All right. So yeah.
I think to piggyback off of what Gi was talking about, most, like, if you're a title contending team, OKC is the outlier. You usually don't have money to splurge. That's why we're in the predicament that we're in right now, because we're a title contending team and we kind of don't have money to splurge. So when we talk about like removing guys, it's like the Mitch thing. Like, OKC is the outlier. They had their 3 all-star caliber dudes on rookie deals, or just one max on the roster at the time. That's why they went and got Hartenstein and paid him so much money. But usually, if you're up in that atmosphere, you're paying a bunch of guys a lot of money. And as far as like Mitch going or staying, it'll be hard to even gauge it, because, like you said, we could go over and pay him. But why would you go into the second apron unless you won a championship? Unless you know it's without a shadow of a doubt, it's a championship team that actually won. That's usually the reason, like, we're just hesitant to go over that second apron.
Right.
Because the only way you would pay him is the end result of paying him is going over the second apron. That's what it is.
Right. I would only go into the second apron if we're running it back. Right. If you win a championship and you know for a fact that because running it back means you figured out how to win a championship in the NBA. Right. And then you go over the second apron running it back because you have it figured out. Right. But I'm not going over the second apron. I really don't want to even go over the first apron. But this is a world that we live in, like, nestled up against, you know what I'm saying? So when it comes to like who the first core Knicks player is to be traded, I ain't gonna lie, y'all, and I'm not trying to put a rock in nobody's shoe, right? And I'm not trying to start a heated debate, right? I personally think if the Knicks trade somebody first, I think it'll be Cat, right? And it's not because Cat's not a great fit. It's not because Cat is bad for the team. I think it's because you can get more for him than any other core piece that you can trade that's not named Jalen Brunson. Right? Like, you can get more complementary pieces for OG Anunoby and Mitch if you trade Cat. Do I want to trade Cat? No. But would a thirsty perennial playoff contender like Phoenix try to give you Ryan Dunn and what's the young athletic dude they got from Houston?
One of the Thompson twins?
No, Jalen Green. Would Phoenix give you Jalen Green, Ryan Dunn, and some picks 10 years down the road for Cat? I think so. I think they can come up with the salary to match and give you the picks.
They better start with Maluach. So I know.
I'm saying this in a theoretic sense, right?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not saying this is guaranteed and I have that all figured out. What I'm saying is in my mind, trading Deuce doesn't solve any problem, right? in my mind, trading Mitch doesn't solve a problem. But if you can trade Cat, who makes a lot of money and is coming up on his extension, for 2 or 3 guys to add to your rotation, right? If you could take one piece and trade it for 3 pieces, cap relief, and draft picks, I think that's probably the best move. I think that's probably the more likely move. And it has nothing to do with whether I like or dislike Cat. It has nothing to do with whether the Knicks like or dislike Cat. I think it has everything to do with asset management. Which valuable piece that you have, you can trade, get a superstar haul, and still live to fight another day in the playoffs. Right? I think it would be him, because we know for a fact they're not trading Jalen Brunson. Right? And nobody is going to trade you anything. The Knicks are not going to trade OG Anunoby as an individual piece, because it makes no sense. They're not going to trade Mikal Bridges as an individual piece, because it makes no sense. Now, what does make sense in terms of talent acquisition is trading Cat to New Orleans for Herb Jones and Trey Murphy III and some draft picks. Yes, the salary will probably match. Right? What would that team look like if you were to trade Cat one singular piece for Yves Missi, Herb Jones, and maybe Trey Murphy? You get your backup center, you get wing depth, you probably get another starter, and they're all young. So when the old guys age out, and what I mean by the old guys, I mean the guys that are in their prime right now start to age out, you still have those young guys here to back them up. Right? And then now what does that do for Pakem Dadier and Mo Diawara and Ariel Hukporti? Who knows? We'll be too drunk off champagne and cigars. That make sense to y'all, or am I crazy?
I think Cat's untouchable. It's my personal opinion.
All right.
I mean, it defeats the whole purpose of bringing him here in the first place, because Cat was supposed to make Brunson better.
Right.
If they were used properly. Like, Cat's literally the only reason we brought him in was to help Brunson.
Right.
And they're going to take him away already. You know what I'm saying? That's just my only personal. Now, the only way that's going to happen is if we poop the bed in the playoffs.
Things happen, bro.
Yeah, then might have to work that out.
Yeah, things happen. Because that might be because of injury. We know it won't happen because of talent. It may happen because of injury. We never know.
Yeah. Yeah, because look at
Boston.
They went from they supposed to try to start getting this dynasty going to like they're almost blowing stuff up. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're doing a soft reset over there.
Yeah.
But they set themselves up like the Knicks are now. Like they had 4 guys making a lot of money.
Right.
And then one of them got hurt. One of them aged a bunch after a year. Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
And then they had a 5th guy making a little more money than he's probably worth because of his injuries with Porzingis. But Porzingis wasn't making as much money as his original talent. You know, he was on that max contract trajectory, you know, if it wasn't for injuries. As far as his impact, you know, and teams he was on. The way he was being, for the people he was being traded for, he was being looked at as a star in the league. But, like, for me, it would take that, like, because the 4 guys we're paying a lot of money to right now. But to me, that's a core that's just them showing Like when we gave Josh that extension in like August of 23 it was or whatever, the state of the Knicks were a lot different at the time.
Right.
Like we had to pay Josh his worth to our team at that time. He was worth the third best player on our team because he might have been the third best player on our team at that time.
At the time, yeah.
You know?
Right.
But then all of a sudden, you know,
things
OG,
change
Mikal,
like they
Cat.
tend to do, yeah.
So, you know, you look all over the league, Josh is worth, it might be that 20 million, yeah, but he's like that veteran that goes on a team that where they're not as good and he makes them better.
Right.
And he's worth 20 million because he's going to give you 14, 8, and 5 or whatever, and help your young guys get better maybe too. Like he's in that what Tim Hardaway, Malik Beasley, and Dennis Schroeder did for Detroit mode in his career right now.
Right.
He's not going to be the centerpiece of a championship team. He's going to be a role player that can help one though.
Right.
You know.
Right. Dope Soul Sports Talk in the building. And Dope Soul, I don't think it's a trading Cat. I'm just pointing out that out of the core pieces, because nobody really cares about the fringe pieces. Like fringe pieces, it don't matter if they trade Landry Shamet and Pacom Dadier or Kev McCullough. You're really just looking to improve the back end of the roster. Nobody really, you know what I'm saying? I mean, in my mind, you're not going to trade anybody from the starting five. You're not going to trade the top 3 guys off the bench. Anybody that's going to be traded is going to be in that group from Jordan Clarkson, Yabusele, Huck Porty, Kolek, in that group. In order to, you'll probably package like 2 or 3 of them together, consolidate to make a major thing. And so my guess was, if anybody was to be traded, the smart trade. And I like Cat. I don't want Cat to ever go anywhere. I want Cat to retire as a Knick. But if we're just talking about asset management, you're not going to trade Brunson because he'll get the biggest haul. Well, what player will get the second biggest haul? It'll be Cat. You already have a center, right? So it's not like you're trading your starting center for a whatever, and you won't be without a center, right? You'll still have Mitch, right? Like even if you try to trade Mitch, what you get in return will not be, in my mind, equal value for what you get from Mitch. But with that said, yo, we usually do a thing every year, and I'm excited about it. So what I'm gonna say to the chat is this: before we wrap up, I want y'all to give us your prediction of the your win prediction. We did this last year. It was fun, right? A lot of people were way wrong. I think the wrongest out of all of us were Corey Lee and myself. I think me and Corey Lee predicted somewhere in the neighborhood of like 66 wins, which was bonkers. I think Lee predicted 63 and I predicted 66. It was bonkers. But I'm gonna ask. All right, let me do Miguel P. Okay, let me see. Miguel P. Now you the first one on the list now. All right, Miguel P. said 60 and 22. And no, I'm not changing it. I'm not changing it later on. That's not hey, y'all got to give me the record. Y'all got to give me the official record, man. The official record. Coach, what's your official record for the Knicks this year? 2025.
I think I know how I am when it comes to predicting. I always think it's going to be more than it ends up. And I know if I bet on 60, they're going to get 59.
Right.
So with that being said, I'm going to predict 59 and 23.
59 and 23. Okay.
We're going to have a game late in the year where we can get that 60th win, but we're going to have the conference already locked up, or our seed is locked up, the 1 or 2 seeds already locked up, and we're like, the starters don't need to play this game, and we don't get the 60th win in the last game.
Hey, Cash, you still there?
I'm still here. I'm
DJ
going 57-25 with Tory B.
Hey, GI, you still there? You can hear me?
I hear you, bro.
Hey, what's your record? What
I
record
always go with my day one. Wise, I was sitting here like, yo, I think 54 is a good number. 54 and 28 for me and Wise.
Okay. All right. I didn't even see that. I didn't even see it. I'm sorry, but I didn't even.
Wow, Ribby is trolling, bro. Ribby said 30 and 52.
Shout out to Ribby.
Is that real?
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I point it out all year though.
Yeah. Hold his feet to the fire with that one. When we get to 30 by mid-January.
All right, Dre, what's your prediction?
58 and 24.
It's a good one.
You said 58 and I'm sorry.
58 and 24.
Okay, I gotta scroll back up in the chat to catch some of these.
You ain't put mine down.
Oh shoot. Okay. All right. All right. And what number was that?
54 and oh my goodness, 54 and 28.
Okay. All right. And so Dope Soul. Hey y'all, if I miss somebody, man, can y'all let me know? Because I'm looking away from the joint. So oh, Dope Soul. That's 80 games. Are you saying 54 and 28?
He think there's gonna be 2 rainouts.
2 snow games. There's gonna be a 2-game strike.
Knicks Nation. Where's Knicks Nation? Oh, Knicks Nation 12. All right, Knicks Nation 12. That's 56 and 26. All right. And so Tev talks Knicks says 57
on that over 53 and a half.
And Ant Dub. Okay. Wait a minute. Somebody said Wise put a thing in the chat. I didn't see it. I don't see it. Hold on. Sherwin, you got to give me your win total, man. Wins and loss. Oh, there it is. I see it. Says all right, so he's gonna say 61 and 21. Okay. All right. And
Sherwin says 47.
47 and what? What was he?
He had 92 games.
He's making us do the math. 47 and 35.
No, we not. Yeah, I ain't doing that. Sherwin, you gonna say if you're not saying wins and losses, bro? I'm not putting that up here.
He was saying between 45 and 47 wins.
Yeah, I'm not. We not get ready to approximate, bro. We ain't going to do all that. Take all the steam out of everything, bro. Yeah. All right. So. All right. So Sherman says 47 and 35. All right. So what are y'all thinking? Like, how did y'all get to y'all wins and loss part? Like, how did y'all get to this place where you felt like this is your comfortable place? This is your sweet spot with wins and losses?
For me,
Well, I think last year, even with the coach, if we had Mitch all year and Brunson was healthy and all year, we're definitely a 55 win team at minimum last year.
Okay.
And this year, we're better. And Mitch is healthy at the beginning. Everyone's healthy except Josh.
Okay.
So with just that alone, in my eyes, we're 4 games better than last year. That's just me being conservative, honestly, trying to be realistic.
Okay.
That's why I came to 59.
For me, I think a lot of the wins or chasing wins has to do in part with someone in your conference playing at a high level, forcing you to try to win and try to get the 1 seed or what have you. I don't believe anyone in the East is trying all that hard, especially considering how the Cavs went out with injuries. They're going to be as careful as possible, considering they're already starting out the season without their starting point guard.
Okay.
So I don't think anyone in the East is really challenging to win 60 games to even push the Knicks to go that hard to win 60 games. I think some of that had to, like, the Cavs pushed for 64 wins because the Celtics were on their heels with 61 wins. Like, there has to be a push. There has to be an incentive at a certain point. So for me, I think, is this a team capable of winning 60 games? I believe so, but I also think they're going to take the foot off the pedal and load manage. And there might be hiccups here and there in terms of execution because it's a new system. But I believe this team is talented enough to do it, but I don't believe it'll be necessary to me anyway. I think 58 wins can win the 1 seed this year.
Okay. I would say that how I got to mine is how I got to my place just real quick is that I think Mike Brown is building this team to be a regular season dynamo. And while that makes me nervous about what happens in April, May, and June, man, it's October. Right? I think that the Knicks are going to be built to be a regular season juggernaut, right? Go as fast as you can for as long as you can. You need a break, we'll sub you out, sub you back in, and we're going to try to keep everybody as healthy as possible, play a lot of guys. And I think what's going to happen is where the Knicks go from a 51 win team to a 61 win team is not what Coach said is smart, right? And I'm not stealing his point, right? But what I think that is all the stupid losses that we took last year. If y'all remember all those stupid losses where we went conservative and played extra defense and we didn't just blow teams out of the gym when we should have. If y'all remember some of them games, like if y'all remember the Chicago Bulls game where Josh Hart fouled Kobe White across the forehead, right? Like those games where, his afro, yeah, right. I think that's where, I think that's where the Knicks are gonna just go for the jugular, right? Offensively and defensively. Like instead of playing it safe and getting into prevent defense and things of that sort, being risk averse, I think we're just gonna be like the dwarf on the battlefield with the battle axe, like the dude just going. Like for anybody that ever saw that movie 300, like legit, like what are we saving blades for? We just go out here and just go at it. I think that's what this season is gonna look like. Like those, like Coach, you remember late in the season? Remember late in the season when we were playing the Washington Wizards and me and you were like, bro, why are we still in this game with the Washington towards the end of the season? You remember that?
Mhm.
He's like, why are we
Oh,
why are we toying around? Why is the cat playing with the mouse? Get the mouse out of here. They want to tank. Why is this why are we not just blowing them out? Right. I think that's what's gonna happen. That's how I got to my point. Cash, how did you get to your win total?
Well, for me, I think the most important thing, and I haven't heard anybody say it yet, is to have the number one seed. Have the number one seed in the East, where we lock down the number one seed, and in that way, we know we ain't got to worry about no home court advantage. We know that they have to come to us. So what that would mean, in order to get the number one seed, it would be nice to get off to somewhat of a fast start. I'm not going to say not like a Cleveland type of start that they had last year, but somewhat of a fast start. Hopefully we won't have any, serious injuries. Hopefully that the continuity and the chemistry can develop. And in that way, Mike Brown knows how to use the tools that he has available. And then as we progress towards the end of the season, see what other tools that can be added to the tool chest. Meaning give some of these other guys some burn to see how they can be incorporated come April. In other words, play the season out. If we can get to a good fast start, then see what tools we could add to the chest from the tools that we have in our toolbox, and then prepare for that April to June ride, because that's the bottom line. That's it. The goal is checkmate, man. The goal is checkmate. So if we lock down the number one seed, we get off to a good start. Some may say, "Oh, well, it looks like we kind of coasting to the end." Well, no, we preparing from April to June, because that's really the meat and potatoes of it. But getting that number one seed throughout the season, though, is important.
Right.
So press hard in the beginning, get a lead, like a track runner, if you want to call it that. Get a lead and just kind of just manage it to the end. Manage it to the end, keeping the eye on the prize. That's the most important thing. Keeping the eye on the prize, and then buckle down and, hey, man, let's get these Knights and Bishops up to par, so we can get this checkmate, man. So we can get this chip.
Right. Okay. Gian, how'd you get to your win total, bro?
So for me, it's I was on the lower side, and Jay Boog, I went back looking for your win total. I don't know, maybe you didn't hit send, because that would have been my fault, because Freezie asked me to watch the chat. So I apologize, Jay Boog, but I just went back and looked again. I didn't see it. It never made it. Coach said the same thing. Coach went looking for it too. Thanks, Coach.
No, it wasn't. No, it ain't in there.
Yeah, it didn't get
in there.
registered.
Jay Boogie wants some attention, bro.
Jay
Boogie, I'm not giving you no attention, bro. Thank you for your contribution. You're gonna respect men, bro.
Okay, so all right, Knicks at night. I was on the conservative side next to Sherman. We know how Sherman is. Sherman is the ultimate pessimist. But my fear is the first 30 games. What I did see this playoffs, and which will lead to losses, is turnovers. And these group of guys aren't used to playing this fast together. It's gonna take some time from a turnover perspective. But this team is built for April. There's no question about it. This team is built for the long haul. It's built for the playoffs. We're learning from our deficiencies in the playoffs. And we all got to remember, regular season basketball, playoff basketball, night and day. So the first 30 games, I'm concerned about us being very close to 500. which is going to make for some great Nick at Night shows. Going to make for some great. The first 3 months, the network's going to be popping. Free Keith is going to be losing his mind. 15 and 15. This roster, 15 and 15. Nick fans are going to think is the biggest failure in the world. But what I got, but the conversation will be around the turnovers, and then you're going to see this team around Christmas time just turn the corner and into the new year. So you're going to see some 20-win streaks. You're going to see some 10-win streaks, 7-win streaks, and that's when we'll start to move. But it'll be too late because you can't just blow a quarter of the season and win 60 games. So that's why I stayed closer on the 50 to 54. That is the first 30 games is the detriment to winning 60. That's why I came up with 54.
Right.
I'll put it this way. This coach that we have now, I'm not saying we got a LeBron James on this team, but this coach coached a team to 66 wins that had Mo Williams as their second leading scorer and started Harrison Barajal, Ilgauskas, and who else was their starter? Mo Williams, and who's their fifth starter? Delonte West.
Oh, wow.
That team won 66 games, bro, with this coach. So let's think what he's going to do with this talent. I'm not saying we're better than the 08-09 Cavaliers who lost to the Magic in the conference finals, by the way, that year. Wasn't it Dwight and them? They lost that year.
Right.
So, but the regular season champs, we've seen it time and time again. They never win. At least they don't win much. I mean, this year it happened. But lately, it hasn't happened. Like Cleveland couldn't even get out of the second round, and they had the most wins in the Eastern Conference. So, just like Dre was saying, I wouldn't be surprised if we went over 60. We have the talent to do that. I don't know. I think Mike Brown is going to have enough awareness of the team and what's more important, that we're not going to fight for 60 wins like it's a playoff atmosphere. It's just going to happen organically, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it happens. So, I'd rather have a 55 wins coasting along than clawing and fighting for 52 wins like it seems like we do with the other guy. Like every damn game is game 7.
I'm listening. I hear y'all, but maybe I'm in a different state of mind, right? I'm in that mindset of it's our turn and we ain't got a cowtail to nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think we got the best roster. We got the most solid. You know what I'm saying? Franchise in the Eastern Conference right now. When you talk about front office, training staff, coaching staff, health of roster, and all of that. Right. I think that's kind of like where we at. Right. I don't know if Boston's a solid franchise. Their best player is out. Right. There are other teams that have solid front offices, they roster not ready, right? When you look at where we are in terms of owner, front office, coaching staff, health staff, roster, fans, I think we're probably, when you look at the combination of all that, I think we're probably in the best place in the Eastern Conference. And for that reason, I think anything less than 60 wins, something happened. Like maybe we got off to a slow start, or maybe the injury bug kicked in, right? I think that might be where we are with it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that we should be a front runner I think we're the front runner by default. As soon as Tatum, because in theory, as soon as Jason Tatum went down, what were y'all thinking? Oh my God, our path is clear. We were already beating Boston. We were already beating Boston, bro. Like, we were legit up 2-1 and up 8, right? On that play, OG Anunoby got a fast break, was on his way to dunk to put us up by 10. Boston didn't have no answers, bro, when Tatum was healthy. We were beating them when Tatum was healthy. Yep. Right? And when you saw Tyrese Halliburton go down in the NBA Finals, what were you thinking? You were thinking like, oh my, the road is clear for us to win a championship. But now when it's time for us to get on that road to win a championship, I think we have to embrace the journey and not wonder about what ifs, what might happen. What if we get a flat tire? What if we get hungry? What if we run out of gas? What if it starts raining? I don't think we should think like that. I think we should think like, we have to ride this road. This is our destiny, right? Everything is clearing itself for us to get there. Because when other teams get these breaks, they try to capitalize on it and enjoy the journey. But since the Knicks never get these breaks, we're not used to it.
I agree. Like, that's part, like when you said like the East opened up, that's partially why the reason why I was like, I don't think we're gonna be so gung ho about winning 65 games, even though we have probably the talent to do it.
Right.
It's just the opportunity. Like, you need to be pushed. You need the other half, you need another power to push you to get to 60, 65. Right. Something outrageous, right? When you don't have that necessarily on the East side. Maybe hypothetically speaking, maybe we're trying to compete for the number 1 overall seed. Then that could be a different conversation if we have with OKC or if Denver decides to push up into the 60s, which I think they can as well.
All right, well. All right, man. That's all I got. I tried to keep it under 2 hours, everybody. Man, we wound up going over 2 hours. I want to thank everybody for coming through. Cash, Simply the Intellect, Coach, Dre. Who was it? It was somebody else here with us, right? Who was it? Was there somebody else here with us? There's like another person here. Well, anyways, maybe I'm wrong.
You didn't say Coach's name, did you?
Yeah, I think I said Coach last. I think. Oh, okay, but yeah,
Coach Cash.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for coming through and hanging out with us. Remember everybody, weekdays at 11 p.m. For sure, we're doing this on Playback TV. We're just going to do the games on Playback TV. We invite everybody to come through and hang out with us on Playback TV to watch the game. Things of that sort. We're going to get out of here, y'all. Thank you everybody for coming through, rocking. We got the spreadsheet up. So before Wednesday, you got to get on this spreadsheet before Wednesday. If not, Fritz. No, Fritz wasn't here. Fritz wasn't. But you got to get. He was in the chat, but he wasn't up here with it. But thank y'all everybody for coming through, rocking. Peace, everybody.
Peace out.
I rank where the view is nothing less than phenomenal. For how I express and project from my abdominal. The only view better, both my daddy and my mama know. No living parents, my sons give me balance. My wife is my serenity, this mic is my identity. The world is foul enough, that's why I write without obscenities. Provoking danger with broken language and spoken anguish. Begging to get hurt, why would you ask to go through changes? Yes, Lord, life's a chessboard, master the angles. Control the tempo, be the one who holds the info. Acknowledge is just as deadly as machete swings. When spoken, the truth is as potent as that Medellin. While others swear the style is free, I just